you step into cybersecurity in Australia, one of the first things you need to understand is that security here is not just about technology. It is about trust, responsibility, and protecting the nation's ability to function safely. This is where the Australian Protective Security Policy Framework, commonly known as PSPF, comes into the picture. Before you learn about firewalls, cloud controls, encryption, or monitoring tools, you first need to understand the environment you are trying to protect. PSPF exists because Australia operates in a complex and evolving threat landscape where risks are no longer limited to hackers sitting behind keyboards. Threats today target people, information, physical locations, supply chains, and decision-making processes. PSPF gives Australia a unified way to think about security across all of these dimensions. In this lecture, you focus on why PSPF exists, who it applies to, and where it sits alongside cybersecurity frameworks, rather than jumping straight into controls and policies. This foundation is critical because once you understand the why, the rest of PSPF starts to make sense naturally. You are operating in a security environment where Australia faces a broad mix of traditional and modern threats. Cyber attacks are only one part of the picture. While ransomware, phishing, and data breaches dominate headlines, they are often just the visible layer of much deeper risks. You must also consider insider threats. Not every breach comes from an external attacker. Sometimes it is a trusted employee, contractor, or partner who misuses access, whether intentionally or accidentally. In Australia, insider risk is taken very seriously because government systems often hold sensitive national, economic, and personal information. Espionage is another reality. Australia is a technologically advanced nation with valuable data, research, and infrastructure. This makes it a target for foreign intelligence gathering, whether through cyber means, human influence, or supply chain manipulation. PSPF exists to ensure that protection does not stop at IT systems, but extends to people, processes, and physical environments. You also cannot ignore terrorism and politically motivated violence. While cyber professionals often feel far removed from this space, physical security and personnel security play a crucial role in reducing these risks. A compromised facility, poorly protected asset, or unsecured contractor can become a national vulnerability. Finally, supply chain risk has become one of the most critical issues in modern security. You rely on vendors, cloud providers, software suppliers, and hardware manufacturers every day. A weakness anywhere in that chain can directly impact Australia's security. PSPF recognizes that security is shared and interconnected, not isolated within one organization. You might ask yourself why Australia needs a dedicated protective security framework instead of just relying on cybersecurity standards or organizational policies. The answer lies in consistency and accountability. Without a unified framework, each government entity would define security in its own way. This would lead to gaps, overlaps, and inconsistent protection across the country. PSPF exists to provide a common baseline, ensuring that every entity understands what good security looks like, regardless of size or function. PSPF is not designed to be a technical manual. Instead, it acts as a strategic policy framework that sets expectations at the leadership level. It ensures that security is not left solely to IT teams, but owned by executives and embedded into organizational culture. By taking a whole-of-government approach, PSPF allows Australia to respond to threats collectively, rather than in isolation. When one entity strengthens its security posture, it indirectly strengthens the entire ecosystem. This is particularly important when government agencies share data, systems, and services. You might initially think PSPF only applies to federal government departments. In reality, its reach is much broader. PSPF applies to all Commonwealth entities, including departments, agencies, and statutory bodies. If you work in or with federal government, PSPF is not optional. It is a mandatory policy framework. If you are a contractor or service provider, PSPF applies to you as well. The moment you handle government information, access government systems, or operate within government facilities, you become part of the security ecosystem. This means your organization may be required to align with PSPF principles, even if you are a private company. PSPF also has strong relevance for regulated industries and critical infrastructure operators. While not all private organizations are legally bound by PSPF, many are expected to align with it due to contractual, regulatory, or risk obligations. Energy, water, transport, telecommunications, and financial services are all sectors where PSPF principles are commonly referenced. Understanding this scope early helps you realize that PSPF is not just government paperwork. It shapes how security expectations flow across public and private sectors in Australia. One of the most important things you need to understand is that PSPF does not replace cybersecurity frameworks. Instead, it sits above them, providing context and governance. Cybersecurity frameworks focus on technical controls, how you secure networks, systems, and data. PSPF focuses on why those controls exist, who is accountable, and how risk is managed holistically. Think of PSPF as the umbrella framework that ensures cybersecurity controls are applied consistently and responsibly. It ensures that cybersecurity decisions align with national interest, organizational risk appetite, and leadership accountability. When you understand PSPF, you stop seeing cybersecurity as a standalone technical function and start seeing it as part of a broader protective security strategy. You also need to understand how PSPF complements privacy legislation. Security and privacy are closely linked, but they are not the same thing. PSPF focuses on protecting information from unauthorized access, misuse, or compromise. Privacy legislation focuses on protecting individuals' rights and personal data. When applied correctly, PSPF supports privacy by ensuring personal information is handled, stored, and accessed securely. However, PSPF also emphasizes proportionality. Not all information requires the same level of protection. By applying risk-based security controls, PSPF helps organizations protect privacy without over-restricting access or creating unnecessary barriers to service delivery. Another key reason PSPF matters is its strong alignment with risk management principles. Security decisions under PSPF are not made based on fear or headlines. They are made based on risk. You are encouraged to assess threats, vulnerabilities, and impacts, and then apply controls that are appropriate to the level of risk. This approach allows organizations to balance security, usability, and cost. For you, as a cybersecurity professional, this is critical. It means your role is not just to say no or enforce controls blindly, but to advise leaders on informed, defensible decisions that align with organizational objectives. If you are building a cybersecurity career in Australia, understanding PSPF gives you a significant advantage. Many roles in government, consulting, and critical infrastructure expect familiarity with PSPF, even if it is not explicitly listed in job descriptions. PSPF helps you speak the language of executives and policymakers. It allows you to explain security in terms of risk, governance, and national responsibility rather than just tools and configurations. When you understand PSPF, you position yourself as a trusted advisor rather than just a technical specialist. This is especially valuable as you move into architecture, leadership, or advisory roles. By the end of this lecture, you should clearly understand where PSPF sits in Australia's security landscape. It is not a technical standard. It is not a checklist. It is a strategic framework that shapes how Australia protects its people, information, and infrastructure. As you move into the next lectures, you will start exploring how PSPF is structured and how its domains work together. But remember this foundation: PSPF exists to make security consistent, accountable, and risk driven across Australia. That understanding will carry you through everything that follows. If this lecture helped you better understand Australia's security landscape and your role within it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments. Your engagement helps shape future lectures and supports others starting their cybersecurity journey.